In November 2022, more than 1 million customers believed their money was safe. They were wrong. Within days, $32 billion disappeared. There is a moment before every great fraud is exposed, when everything still looks perfect. The offices are gleaming. The endorsements are rolling in. The money is flowing. And the man at the center of it all is sleeping on a beanbag in his office, wearing wrinkled shorts, telling the world he doesn't care about money. That man was Sam Bankman-Fried, and the world believed him. He didn't look like a billionaire. That was the point. Sam Bankman-Fried grew up in Palo Alto, California, the son of 2 Stanford law professors. He was quiet, awkward. He played Magic, the Gathering, competitively. He studied physics at MIT, one of the most demanding programs at one of the most demanding universities in the world. After graduation, he took a job at Jane Street Capital in New York, a quantitative trading firm so selective, so secretive, that most people in finance have never heard of it. Jane Street doesn't advertise. It doesn't need to. It hires the kind of mathematicians who see financial markets the way chess grandmasters see a board, not as chaos, but as patterns waiting to be exploited. Sam was good, very good, but he wanted something bigger. In 2017, he left Jane Street and founded Alameda Research, a crypto trading firm operating out of a house in Berkeley, California. The team was young. Some had never worked in finance. Several were his close friends, and one, Caroline Ellison, would become his on-again, off-again girlfriend and the CEO of his trading firm. Alameda made money, a lot of it. And Sam Bankman-Fried, now known to the world by his initials, SBF, was just getting started. In 2019, SBF founded FTX. The name stood for Futures Exchange. But what he was really building was something more ambitious, a one-stop financial platform for anyone who wanted to trade. Simple, fast, trustworthy. The logo was clean. The website was elegant. And unlike many competitors, FTX actually worked. Money arrived in waves. Sequoia Capital, one of the most respected venture capital firms in Silicon Valley, the same firm that backed Apple, Google, and YouTube, invested. So did SoftBank. So did the Ontario Teachers' Pension Plan. Institutional money, serious money, money that carried the implicit message. We've looked at the books, and this is real. By 2021, FTX was valued at $32 billion. Then came the celebrities. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen took equity stakes and starred in advertisements. Larry David appeared in a Super Bowl commercial joking that he was a skeptic who'd been wrong about every great invention in history. The wheel, the light bulb, and was probably wrong about this too. Steph Curry, Naomi Osaka, Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin O'Leary. The message was calibrated and deliberate. This isn't some underground experiment. This is mainstream. This is safe. FTX paid $135 million to put its name on the Miami Heat's basketball arena. At one point, Sam Bankman-Fried appeared on magazine covers alongside the world's most influential CEOs. SBF testified before Congress, speaking calmly about the need for sensible regulation. Politicians on both sides of the aisle listened respectfully. He became the second largest individual donor to the Democratic Party in the 2022 election cycle. He gave millions to pandemic preparedness causes. He said, publicly, that he intended to give away his entire fortune. He called this philosophy effective altruism. The idea that you should earn as much money as possible in order to do as much good as possible. People loved him for it. Here was a billionaire who didn't have a yacht, who didn't wear a suit, who didn't seem to care about status or luxury or the trappings of wealth. He slept in the office. He drove a Toyota Corolla. He was, the world decided, the good one. Now, stop. Forget everything you know about cryptocurrency for a moment. Imagine you go to a bank. You deposit $10,000. You expect that money to sit in your account, safe, until you want it back. Now imagine the bank quietly takes your money and gives it to their cousin's investment firm to make risky bets with. The bank doesn't tell you. The bank keeps showing you a balance that says $10,000, but the money is gone. It's in your cousin's hands now, making trades, taking losses. That is, stripped of all technical language, what happened at FTX. Customer funds. The money that millions of ordinary people deposited onto the FTX platform, expecting it to be held safely, were quietly transferred to Alameda Research, SBF's private trading firm. Alameda used those funds to make investments, to pay off loans, to purchase real estate in the Bahamas, to fund political donations. And the entire time, FTX showed customers a number on a screen that said their money was there. It wasn't. The hole would eventually reach an estimated $8 billion. How did this go undetected for so long? Because the people who might have caught it trusted him. The investors trusted him. The auditors, a small, relatively unknown firm, trusted him. The regulators trusted him. The customers trusted him. And SBF had curated every detail of his public image to earn that trust. People don't interrogate the person they already believe in. On November 2nd, 2022, a reporter at CoinDesk published a story that almost nobody noticed at first. It was a story about a leaked financial document from Alameda Research. And buried in that document was a detail that made no sense. A huge portion of Alameda's assets appeared to be held in FTT, a token that FTX itself had created. In other words, SBF's trading firm's balance sheet was propped up by currency that SBF's exchange had printed. 4 days later, Changpeng Zhao, the CEO of Binance, FTX's largest competitor, announced publicly that his company would sell its holdings of FTT. That was the moment the ice cracked. Confidence evaporated in hours. Every refresh of the app became more terrifying. Withdrawals stalled. Social media exploded. Rumors became certainty. Users who had trusted FTX with their savings, with their livelihoods, watched helplessly as the platform froze beneath them. In a single day, users requested $6 billion in withdrawals. FTX couldn't pay. The money wasn't there. SBF spent 4 frantic days attempting to find a savior. Binance briefly announced it would acquire FTX, then walked away after a single day of due diligence, citing mishandled customer funds. Every other potential rescue fell apart. On November 11th, 2022, 9 days after that first CoinDesk article, FTX filed for bankruptcy. The man brought in to manage the wreckage was John Ray III, a restructuring specialist who had previously overseen the collapse of Enron. He had seen financial disasters up close. He thought he had seen everything. He hadn't. "Never in my career," Ray wrote in his first court filing, "have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls. 130,000 creditors, billions in customer funds, gone. A $32 billion company, vanished." SBF resigned. He retreated to his penthouse in the Bahamas and began giving interviews, rambling, disorganized, seemingly unable to understand the severity of what had happened. He tweeted apologies. He said he hadn't meant for any of this to occur. He seemed, to many observers, almost genuinely confused by the consequences. In December 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas. He was extradited to the United States and charged with wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering, among other counts. His inner circle flipped. Caroline Ellison, his ex-girlfriend, pleaded guilty and cooperated with prosecutors. So did other FTX co-founders. They described a company in which the lines between customer funds and company funds had been deliberately, systematically erased. The trial began in October 2023. In 30 days, the jury heard from dozens of witnesses. They heard recordings. They read messages. They saw spreadsheets showing exactly how customer money had been moved, used, and lost. SBF testified in his own defense. He said he hadn't known, that he had made mistakes, that things had become complicated. The jury deliberated for less than 5 hours. Guilty. On all 7 counts. In March 2024, Judge Lewis Kaplan sentenced Sam Bankman-Fried to 25 years in federal prison. He was 32 years old. Here's what we remember about great frauds. We remember the names, the numbers, the courtrooms, the headlines. What we tend to forget is the part that made them possible. Bernie Madoff didn't steal billions because he was clever. He stole billions because people trusted him, because he had a good reputation, an authoritative manner, and a long track record that no one examined too closely. Elizabeth Holmes didn't raise almost $1 billion for Theranos because of technology. She raised it because she wore a black turtleneck, spoke in a baritone, and made people feel that to question her was to be closed-minded about the future. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't build a $32 billion empire because of cryptocurrency. He built it because he understood, perhaps better than anyone in his generation, that trust is not earned through scrutiny. It is manufactured through image, and we fall for it, every generation, because we want to believe that the good ones exist, that wealth and virtue can coexist, that someone out there is going to get rich and then give it all away. The feeling of being trusted by someone you trust, that, it turns out, is worth $32 billion, until it isn't. Technology didn't steal billions. Cryptocurrency didn't steal billions. Trust did.